that I'm having a small bit of an existential crisis. So welcome to my channel where I occasionally talk about what it's like to be a person living with bipolar disorder. So thanks for tuning in. So I've always been a person that's a bit ahead of the curve, which I realize more as I spend a little bit more time on this planet. As evidenced by patterns of thinking and behavior that I find in the popular dialogue that have been in my noggin for some time, and for which I was called weird or worse. And the little identity crisis that I'm having right now is sometimes I just can't help but wonder if I might have medicated away a potential spiritual awakening. And that would be about a dozen years ago or so, right around the time of a Saturn return. If you're into that kind of thing. And I was thinking about some of the symptoms that I was having, especially symptoms that some would say are symptoms of a third eye opening. And so I just wonder. Now, I wonder if you, dear watcher, have experienced anything like that. And, I pay attention to the comments that people make. One of the videos I made, which was very much about the importance of taking medications as prescribed, they called me a robot, which is cool. There's a robot named Rosie that is pretty famous. Plus I really like robots, but and it's hard to say. It's important not to pay too much attention to people that are trolling. But I am a big believer in op-ed and listening to all points of view and considering them, and I definitely could see how one might suggest that just blindly following doctor's orders or anybody's orders is antithetical to self-actualization. So I hear that, and I'm also aware that there's some privilege involved in my own story, because I had some pretty good medical care and staff and individuals involved in my care, as well as individuals in my long-term recovery. And that is sadly not the case with everyone. And I don't think that I missed the boat on any kind of spiritual awakening. And for all of the manic-y, sort of delusional-ish, semi-psychotic, very medical terms, symptoms that I had back at this time of what felt like maybe I was on the precipice of something. Besides getting diagnosed with bipolar disorder in grand public fashion. I mean, after having a grand public display, I thought maybe I was on the verge of some sort of awakening or enlightenment. And yet, I also know that those can be symptoms of psychosis and feel extremely real. And that is that tricky no man's land. And it's especially difficult to navigate when your own spiritual beliefs allow for certain such experiences. No, I'm not religious, and there are those who take certain books, holy books, rather literally, and a lot of those people would be locked the fuck up in the joint. You know, in the psych wing with me, in the quiet room, by themselves, padded mat and everything. So, 5150'd by the judge, like Britney Spears was way back around the same time that I was. Thankfully, I didn't lose my own guardianship rights. Anyway, so I'm meandering here. I'm tired. I'm up past my bedtime. I'm sober. For those that might wonder, I am in long-term recovery. I'm aware that I sound a little sleepy and slurry. I got my retainer in. I'm tired. But I just have been consuming some other people's, content. Brussels brand. You got me thinking about big picture stuff. Controversial things. Gave me a little bit of bravery to speak up to anyone that might be listening. I don't have to know the answer to that. And perhaps I thought that I did. I accepted the explanation of the medical people. At the time, I felt like I was being hypnotized. I had never been to a psychiatrist before. So I was just thinking, like, Freud, didn't he used to hypnotize people or something? And so my parents were taking me to an emergency psychiatrist appointment after the incident, the grand public incident. Another chapter. That's another chapter. Anywho, I was being taken to a psychiatrist for the first time ever. And I'm thinking, I said, am I, what are they going to do? Am I going to be hypnotized? And I don't know if I said it out loud, but I distinctly remember wondering whether I was hypnotized in that moment. And that's also very interesting to think about, because I now practice hypnosis on a weekly, and when I am doing it well, daily basis. Genre, subconscious reprogramming. I'm a fan of Glenn Harold. I first really got into it when I was pregnant and doing hypnobirthing with Marie Mongan. She's the person who started that whole thing. Anyway, and it was really wonderful. So, I guess I will come back to the premise that I pretty much always come back to on this, the conclusion I always come back to on this channel and in my life, is that two seemingly opposite things can and often are true at the very same time. That to me is duality. which is one of the cool things that I like about being a bipolar Libra. So I am sure I did not wrap that up neatly in a bow, but I'm done. I got to go to bed way past my bedtime. Yeah, the cherry on top, I will add this, from that whole manic / potential spiritual awakening, Saturn return, blah blah blah, is how was that working out for me? Well, it wasn't in the end, which was why I got the diagnosis from 3 different doctors, started on the meds. So maybe if it had been working, maybe that would have been different. Maybe if something like that were to begin to happen now, I like something like that, meaning signs from the universe and symptoms of third eye opening and other things, bursts of creative inspiration. Those can be gifts of bipolar disorder, I think. But it can be really dangerous terrain. I don't want to fully lose control of my psyche. Probably why I haven't had a conscious out-of-body experience. Even though I have had many a lucid dream and like a quick out-of-body sort of things. It's been, yeah, anywho, tangent. I was just trying to say that maybe that at that time, I don't regret what I did and the choices that I made, whether they were out of fear or being a robot or a sheep and just like succumbing to, oh yeah, you know, you're crazy if you're different, or having some weird experience and just medicate it all away, you know, shut it down. I don't know about that. To quote the baby boomers, if some things like that were to happen now, and in some ways they have, along the last few years, that I might be better equipped to handle those and respond and still be safe and still be able to live and function in the world, and also not be of it, right? Like, not, yeah. And actually, here's my, as neat of a little bow as I can to wrap this up, now that I've gone on another 3 minutes past what I said I was going to, is that, being sober actually was a huge help to all of that, because the, you know, Saturn return manic episode in grand public fashion, my debut on the scene of my bipolar diagnosis, I was drinking a lot of alcohol and taking a lot of amphetamines prescribed by a doctor. Some quack that prescribed me more than should have even legally been allowed. But we're not going to talk about that here. I never actually called that doctor a quack before. That's my mom's term. Anywho, bless her heart. Looking out for her daughter. That man's a quack. Probably something. Misinformed, unskilled, to be sure. Given 110, 13-pound girl 80 milligrams of Adderall a day. And who knows how much liquor. So yeah, So yeah, that wasn't like the best kind of, that probably was just about to be psychosis, not spiritual awakening. I'm not chemical free now. I am regulated. And I just feel that being away from the booze and things like that, like, has, sitting with the discomforts of life and not just numbing them out, maybe that's helped to open up my spiritual experience. Certainly the sleep deprivation of going through labor was one that was, I was starting to lose touch with reality there. Whoa, this is descending into, I derailed and then I fell off the cliff. I do that, and I don't edit things because I'll never, ever, ever fucking ever do it or post it. So I'm just gonna put it up, and if you make it to the end, you gotta put like a rainbow emoji and then a brilliant diamond crystal, whatever they have in the emoji world now, because whether or not you are on the bipolar spectrum, you still are brilliant. And as some other wonderful person said before me, you were born perfect, as we all were. You just have to remember that. So we're all perfectly imperfect. Take care of yourself so you can be there to take care of each other. See you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all the other cool mumbo jumbo, because I just need a piddly few more subscribers. Y'all aren't piddly, but you know, just a couple more so I can live stream. Wouldn't that be cool? I thought so too. Okay, so tell your friends. Bye.